Hello everyone, it's Nancy Rebecca and welcome to my channel. If you are new, I am a retired registered nurse. I have been working as a psychic clairvoyant and intuitive teacher for almost 30 years now. And in the past few years have really been picking up on the frequencies that are going on in the world, whether it's in our 3D plane, earthly plane, or somewhere in the cosmos and the galactic. And so that's what I'm going to be talking about today. The Galactic Federation, myth, message, and humanity's call to cosmic unity. Have you ever looked up at the stars and felt a strange tug, a quiet remembering that you just might not be alone? Across the decades of spiritual stories and channeled messages, there's been a lot of talk, and I mean a lot of talk, about the Galactic Federation, which is talked about as a council of enlightened star civilizations guiding Earth through her awakening. Whether that's literal or symbolic, which is what we're going to touch on today, it doesn't really matter as much as the messages that are coming through. And because maybe the Galactic Federation really isn't something that's kind of out there in the sky at all. Maybe it's an idea seated in our collective heart, a memory of what unity feels like when fear no longer continues to divide us. So now I'm going to unpack this myth a little bit, or the meaning. Maybe it's literal, maybe it's real. What if? And the energy of this federation of light and what it might be trying to awaken inside each of us. So I would say it was a good 9 years ago that I heard someone say that the Galactic Federation was floating up above the Earth, that it's actually in our orbit, it's in our atmosphere, that it can't be seen, that some people can see it, some people cannot see it. I don't happen to be one of those that can see it, although I'm clairvoyant. It's not like I look up in the sky and see spaceships. However, I definitely have talked to a lot of people who say, yes, there are big kind of motherships and spaceships that float up above us in the skies. They're just kind of watching us kind of in the background, so to speak. So today I thought, well, with all this 3-eye atlas going on, is it a comet? Is it a spaceship? What is it? I really was curious about, when did we first start hearing about the Galactic Federation? Like, where is its origins from? Where did it come from? When I first heard of the phrase Galactic Federation of Light, I pictured a council chamber floating amongst the stars, beings of every imaginable kind gathered in peace together. It sounded in some ways like a science fiction or sacred scripture all at once, all at the same time. But over time, I began to realize that the story itself, whether it's literally true or not, is a mirror of what humanity is evolving towards. And so those people that I have met that say this is not only real, that the Galactic Federation of Light is very, very real. And I have been able to hear a man that talked about how that not only in this Galactic Federation of Light are different types of star cultures, star-being cultures, which I will be mentioning, but also there is human involvement in this Galactic Federation as well. So we're learning how to cooperate across our differences. I know there's those days where it just doesn't feel like we're ever going to make it. We are learning how to resolve conflict without destroying each other. Maybe, kind of. And how to live in alignment with cosmic laws instead of survival fear. I was listening to somebody else give a talk and was reading some comments under their talk where people were saying, please don't talk about aliens or ETs or spaceships because it terrifies me. Well, that might not be a good enough reason to not have these conversations, which is why I decided to do a little intuitive investigation as to where all this started. So, where does this story come from? Well, the Galactic Federation, its roots reach back to the early mystics. The Theosophists spoke of masters of wisdom guiding Earth's evolution. To the contactees in the 1950s who claimed telepathic conversations with space brothers from Venus and from the Pleiades. But by the time we got to the 1980s, there was a re-emergence. There were a lot of people who were channeling the Galactic Federation of Light, a network of star nations from systems Sirius, Arcturians, Lyrans, Pleiades, Andromeda, and Orion. Each of these cultures symbolizes a certain frequency. Sirius has the frequency of compassion and sound, Arcturus with geometry and healing, the Pleiades with love and creativity, with the Orions that have master over duality. Taken together, these stories from these interstellar creation of a mandala, kind of sacred geometry, it is a reflection of qualities that we're meant to embody here on Earth. So this federation, as described in those transmissions that came through in the 1980s, and they are still coming through some channelers today, talk about how they resonate. This Galactic Federation resonates and operates through a resonance, not through rules. It doesn't command, these frequencies don't command, they harmonize. They are said to protect free will. They are said to never interfere with the planet's natural evolutionary process, but to beam guidance through inspiration, intuition, and the language of light. Now, you might notice that's kind of sounds like that's how the higher self works, doesn't it? It doesn't demand your higher self. It just whispers, it guides, it honors the timing, the natural organic timing of your life. So perhaps the Galactic Federation is an outer reflection of our own inner council of wisdom. So from a symbolic perspective, the idea of a cosmic alliance is an idea that can and maybe was established at a human level. But there are a lot of cultures that talk, ancient cultures that talk about similar things at that human level. So, for example, the Dogons to the Mayans to the Hopi, all the way to the Egyptians spoke of visitors or teachers from the stars. They're not necessarily describing physical ships. And this is kind of what I'm talking about. It's like, is there a physical ship that exists? And I'm really curious. I do want to hear from those in the comment section of, have you actually witnessed these ships? Are you very aware of the Galactic Federation? Are you able to communicate with the Galactic Federation? What's your belief about this? Because as we are kind of our galactic intelligence is rising to the surface, and how disclosure of alien craft and alien beings are kind of coming to the forefront when our government's now talking about it. They weren't necessarily describing spaceships, but they were describing what they called a transmission of knowledge, a memory of consciousness that is bigger than just one planet, just bigger than our planet. And I get this sense that all of us, that we can agree on that. We don't have to agree on a lot of things, but I have that impression we can all agree that there's probably more knowledge than what we hold on this earth, that there is this greater potential from other cultures, other galaxies that we can be getting this radiance transmissions of knowledge from. In our modern era, we translate that ancient truth into galactic languages. We imagine the councils of light because we're remembering how to live in council of harmony within ourselves. So the blue star beings of light, the Syrians that I have had the honor and blessing to have communicate with me once in a while, not only when the information is needed, that they've been sharing about light codes. They've been sharing about these blue plasma frequencies. They've been sharing about DNA activation. They've been sharing about our creating a light body, and that there's more kind of blue coming into our earthly human existence. And then just more recently, in the past 6 months, they've talked a lot about sacred geometry. And even longer before that, they were talking about Egyptian hieroglyphs. So there's a lot of forms in which this communication can come to us. And so, are they truly, what if they are existing in a Galactic Federation ship where they're transmitting frequencies to Earth? Or is it simply a part of consciousness that we tap into? Well, I think that maybe there's a lot of people still sitting on the fence about that. I know that I do at times sit on the fence with it, if I'm honest. All right, so when I tune in clairvoyantly to the energy of the Federation, I don't see uniforms or hierarchy. I sense a vast network of light nodes, like stars, each being, human or otherwise, operating like neurons in a galactic brain. Now remember, yep, I'm clairvoyant, but that does not mean that I see everything. And if I see things in a multidimensional realm, I'm only going to see that dimension in which I'm being shown. So again, just because I'm not seeing it does not mean it doesn't exist. It just means I'm personally tuning into this other level, which we're talking about like a neuron in a galactic brain. You know, like what if we are all part of a nervous system in our collective consciousness, where information, love, creative intelligence flow through these filaments like bioluminescent rivers. And it feels organized to me, but it feels also organic, like it's natural. It's not unnatural. I can feel the organic naturalness of it, as if compassion itself has an architecture. And when your own energy field is coherent, and we've heard this, we tune into our nature naturally and organically. So rather than ask, is the Galactic Federation real or not? Maybe the deeper question is, what is it mirroring to us about our next stage of our next evolutionary process? Because whether it's a literal interstellar, often I'll throw in there interloper because I can feel that way at times, but interstellar council or not, humanity is standing in that same exact doorway. We are expanding in our consciousness and our ability to understand larger than just the small circle of our life. We're being asked to mature. We are being asked to grow up, to mature, and to explore that potential possibility that yes, there is maybe a mothership of a galactic federation, of a galactic council, of a lot of different star cultures coming together, and that they are asking us to rise into that similar state of peace, harmony, and neutrality. What if? So we are asking not only to mature, but to move out of our tribal separation into planetary cooperation. So this myth, or maybe it's not a myth, of the Federation invites all of us to imagine what would it feel like if we actually could create manifest peace, wisdom, and respect were our default programs. Science tells us there's billions of stars, of galaxies. Spirituality tells us that consciousness is infinite. And the Federation story simply bridges those two together. The possibility that consciousness across the cosmos is truly connected, communicating, kind. It's a myth that points towards potential truth, that love is a universal language and cooperation is the natural law of higher worlds. Now, for me, the most beautiful part of this myth that's been around for a long time, that maybe some people have been able to prove, but for the majority of humanity, we haven't seen that yet. The most beautiful part of this myth is its ethics. For every message attributed to the Galactic Federation, when you strip it all away, you strip down the sensationalism, repeats the same theme along the way. Do no harm, honor free will, advance your culture through compassion, and be in service to the greater whole. That's the moral code of an enlightened society, human or cosmic. So let me just run through a little exercise that you can do later when you can find yourself having some peace and quiet without any interruptions. Especially if you are asking yourself, how do I connect to the Galactic Federation? And so instead of trying to look up at the stars, get yourself in that quiet place, look inward into your own heart and visualize a council table made of pure light. And imagine at that table sense representatives of your higher aspects, your wisdom, your courage, your humor, your patience, your creative fire, your knowledge, your wisdom. Imagine the council in your heart communicating in harmony, making decisions together. Maybe it's your personal Galactic Federation. And when those inner councils work in unity together, your outer world naturally reflects that galactic consciousness. So what do I mean by that? When you have inner calm and inner peace, that vibration and frequency of inner calm and peace, those waves radiate outside your aura and you begin to create calm and peace all around you. So the Federation becomes a teaching story, if we're going to look at it that way, about alignment. An individual light aligning with the collective light, the planet aligning with the galaxies, humanity aligning with your own higher potential. Whether we call it a cosmic family, star nations, or simply universal consciousness, it's all the same frequency current, the energy of remembering that we do belong here. This is our home on Earth. This is our planet. As you go on about your days, you might notice more references about the Federation appearing in popular media, books, and conversations. Some of these, they sound pretty wild. And some of them feel incredibly true. And some may just stir our curiosity. It really stirs my curiosity. And would I like it to be true? I would definitely like it to be true. I like the idea of, it doesn't matter to me what culture's coming together, but a unified culture of people wanting to come together in peace-filled ways. Yep, I really like that idea, even if they're coming from another galaxy. So the truth for you will always feel, leaving you feel expanded, peaceful, and empowered. And remember, fear-based stories contract and divide. So this is your internal compass, your federal frequency, galactic frequency check-in. So when you step out tonight and you gaze upon the endless sea of light, take a deep breath and remember, you're not small under the stars the way the Galactic Federation would like for us to remember. If I truly knew what they wanted to remember, they would probably share with us that we are not dreaming about the stars. We are the stars. We are seen as individual sparks of light, of very loving, very joy-filled, a luminescent light that wishes to uplift the world. So perhaps the Galactic Federation's not waiting to contact us. Perhaps it's waiting for us to be in contact with ourselves. With each act of kindness, each bridge, each truth spoken brings the earth steps closer to joining this imagined council of peace. Because the Galactic Federation at its heart is the dream of a united cosmos, and that dream begins here with us. And before I finish up, I will just say that yes, I have personally seen an otherworldly ship that was the size of 2 football fields, very long. I saw windows. I saw little people moving through the windows. It was that close. I don't know if that's the Galactic Federation of Light, but I sure would like to hang out there for a little bit and see what they're doing. So anyway, I'd love to hear from you if you have seen spaceships, what you think about is this Galactic Federation of Light. And do you feel like there's a lot of star people out there who are hoping, wishing, praying, uplifting us while we're uplifting our peace on our earth? Let's have a conversation. All right, thanks everyone. I'll see you next week. Bye-bye. Sorry, Mike. A lot of yogurt. Now a little thick in my voice. Oh no, dude. Don't tell me I had the hiccups. Mike. Okay, let me try to start this next segment again.